everyone, welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Wolora Afrin Rasna with us. Wolora is a young dynamic social activist and an entrepreneur in the field of intellectual property. She was called to the Bar of England and Wales in 2012. Wolora completed her master's in tax management from the University of Dhaka in 2019, and she's also an accredited mediator at ADR-ODR International. She is the founder and president of Women in IP Bangladesh, an organization for women empowerment and protection of innovations by women from diversified fields of intellectuals in Bangladesh itself. WIPB provides awareness campaigns, educational and other specialized trainings, and free legal support to its members. Wolora is mostly involved in providing IP consultation and alternative dispute resolution to people as well. Her passion in building legal infrastructure in new sectors for Bangladesh as a developing country does not limit her in pursuing her own dreams. Creating positive impact in rural areas through workshops and in films and media in collecting royalties and distributing it to right holders are among her responsibilities to overcome any hurdles for its accomplishment. The first copyright society in Bangladesh is formed under her leadership in audiovisual sector, which is amazing. She also served as the first IP consultant for Bangladesh Copyright Office, Ministry of Cultural Affairs in 50 years. Wow, that's quite a journey. Hello, Wolora. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good too. Thank you for asking. So after your introduction, I'm very much interested in knowing about your journey as a legal professional. And wow, you're already very successful. So please share how it has been for you so far.
The legal journey, I must say, it's amazing. It's almost 9 years I'm running through after I was called to the bar in 2012. And I mostly enjoy not the litigation part, and I mostly work on social works, and I also do consultation, and I mostly work where I can create a positive impact because the country we live in, we already graduated from least developing to a developing country. So I think there are lots more to do, a lot of policies to incorporate, a lot of procedures to follow. So I think once we all get support in the infrastructure level, I think we can go way along in the future.
Really glad to know that, Wolora. So it'll be almost a decade for you in the legal space, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure you must have dealt with a lot of transactions, a lot of cases. Please tell us about the most memorable transaction or a case.
The most memorable one, I would say, when I was doing with I would say it's a FIFA case. The last FIFA we had in 2018, when in Bangladesh, there was this first 4G internet, because as I said, we just graduated. So the first media right, which one of my clients, they got it from the Sony company to broadcast it internationally in internet as well as through radio and television. So there was this lot of illegal links and streams at the time of the FIFA World Cup, which was just for 90 minutes. So a lot of advertisement, a lot of illegal financial transaction was there. And when it comes to intellectual property, I must say that we are way behind because it's just been 2 decades that we have our copyright law, and the issues with the content and the signal and its policies and the digital rights and the digital laws are very new. We just had the Digital Act passed in 2018, and we also had this FIFA World Cup going on at the same time. So when my client was having this financial loss because the other companies or other just illegal links or website which doesn't even have any legal standing were broadcasting it, so my clients were facing financial loss. So what was the instant reaction? Oh my God, what is happening? It's just a month of a game, and if this continues, there will be a complete loss of the project. So what we did, we started to notify the designated ministries, the ICT, of course, the law ministry, what to do in this regard, because we don't have proper appropriate law to protect what my client was going through. So, we have this BTRC who regulates all these illegal links. So when we wrote to the ministry, then the ministry, corresponded to the BTRC commission. And then still it took us almost 4 days to stop those illegal links. It was on the same floor, just 4 tables to approval, but still, it took 4 days, and FIFA was already to its quarterfinal. So the advertisement rates were very high, and my clients were facing serious damages. But end of the day, still, despite having not 100% of the law enforcement in terms of copyright, but still, we could make it happen. I think it was about 150 illegal links that we stopped, and that I would say this is a very unique experience it was for me, having FIFA and having just the 4G internet and the media rights and the copyright law and the digital law at the same time. So I think it was a good one, and in fact the ministries, they were really very serious about this, and they were thinking about making more stringent laws and more rules. And I believe it's still on the way. We are having our new copyright law. We are having new procedures on digital law. So I think, yeah, this is how it was one of my memorable ones so far.
Wow, I'm really glad that went well for you. I mean, I'm sure that must be a lot of, that must be a situation with a lot of pressure, and at the same time,
Yes.
you have a responsibility to fulfill.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a very crazy situation to be in. So I'm really glad that got out of it well. Now, talking about your specialization, Wolora, it is IP. So, how do you look at, let's say, the IP law, the intellectual property law in 2021, and how do you think it's going to change 5 years down the line?
Well, in terms of if I talk about IP laws, I have to talk, like there are categories for IP. You have patents, you have trademarks, you have copyright, you have geographical indication and trade secrets and so on. Now, the trademarks and the patent, well, it's still the new law is under process. The copyright law as well, it's still under process. As the generation changes, as time changes, there's this demand of new law, of course, because there are so many changes in terms of circumstantial, social, environmental, technical, and so other issues. So I think in Bangladesh, it's been 2 decades that we still don't have a copyright case reported, because this is, I would say it's a lack of awareness. But if I talk about trademark, there are so many, because when it comes to trade, people always think about is the trademark. But the importance of copyright in terms of the social media, in terms of the song, in terms of the lyric, in terms of the content itself, it is so important. And in terms of the broadcasting as well, we are having so many online platforms, we are having so much offline platforms, and it's increasing. The commercial exploitation is increasing. So I would say IP is so important now, because this is the more core heart, I would say, where the innovation sustains. And I would also add that in 2021 or in the next 5 years, intellectual property would be such sector where, depending on the innovation, the growth of the country, the employment of the country, overall advancement of the country would be depending. So I think this sector is very important, and we in Bangladesh we would be needing more expertise in intellectual property, because I know this sector is not easy. There's a lot of studies to go through. There are a lot of hard work to go through, because this is not a ready case like a company law or a writ petition or like any other or criminal law. IP is a specialized area. There is a need of a lot of special learning and skills to find out the small issues, to solve a thing and to connect to the loopholes where it belongs. So I think IP sector is emerging, innovation is emerging. We can see a lot of women are also getting involved in innovation. So I think, yes, I see a very good future for IP in the next 5 years.
Thank you very much, Volera, for answering that question. But as we are on that topic, and you have, helped your country, or maybe just the IP sector in Bangladesh, and you've gotten some really remarkable changes yourself. So, how do you think, being a woman, how do you think that women can contribute in the IP sector globally and also in Bangladesh specifically?
I would say if I talk about globally, we can see that in terms of innovation, if I talk more about on patents, the number of women is increasing, even though it's slow, but it started to increase. If I compare about in back in 25 years back, there were not even no women were there in the innovation list. In 2018, we can see only 1/5 of the patent applications are women. However, we can also see in 2018 to 2019, there's an increase of 8% of women involvement. If I talk about gender equality, if I talk about the innovation itself, when I talk about the car seat belts, right, it is a very common one that a pregnant woman who will be fastening the seat belt, if she sits in the first, beside the car, beside the driving seat, or if she drives herself, she must fasten the seat belt. And many cars, the seat belts are not designed for pregnant women who is almost in her maybe 30 weeks over. So the innovation is changing, as I said, because of the demand of the society or the situation itself. Many car companies are coming together to change the design of the seat belts so that a pregnant woman can sit properly and drive herself. So if I talk about patents, if I talk about innovation, if I talk about women architectures, women painters, or women who are writing the lyrics, who are creating songs, who are creating movies, I must say the number of women participation is increasing. And in Bangladesh, though we don't have, I haven't seen any women applying for patents or, getting something very unique. The involvement is still less, but I would say, it will be increasing because we have a lot of women now coming out of the barrier. Bangladesh is reaching to its 50 years, and it's a long time. 50 years for a country, I think it's time to break through. I think it's time for the women to create a change, not to, not to be themselves because of the societal pressure or the family pressure or whatever you name it. I think it's high time that innovations in women in Bangladesh is changing, globally is changing. I think due to this change, there will be more positive impact coming up in the near future.
Wow, Wolora, as when you were talking about this, I just recalled that you have also served as the first IP consultant for Bangladesh Copyright Office, Ministry of Cultural Affairs, and in the past 50 years. So just got recalled. So how difficult was it? I mean, I'm sure there must be a lot of obstacles, obstructions in your way, because being a woman, let's just face it, you have to go through a couple of struggles more than other people, more than other gender. But at the same time, when we will be talking about this, about your struggles, we would also want to know about your take on how women can make it happen. Like, how can women, help the IP sector in Bangladesh, especially?
Okay. We always have this International Copyright Day, which is 23rd of April. We always celebrate, there is celebration in Bangladesh. So in one of the event I was there, and there was our honorable minister giving his speech, and I voluntarily said that there must be a consultation team in your office, because whenever any lyricist or any composer or a musician or a producer or a painter will be coming, there has to have someone who is expertise in this sector and who can give the consultation. And then he called me instantly, are you interested? I said, yes, I am. Okay, Mr. Register, can you please call her, after this event or during the lunchtime? So I was eagerly waiting. And then when he called me, I was there, sir, I can come. My home is nearby. It just takes me 10 minutes to come to your office. And I don't need any payment for this, but I just want this sector to develop, because if this sector develop, I know I can develop myself. And then he said, okay, you give an application. And then I have given it and the ministry approved. And I was really, I didn't know that there was no one before. I got to know after I joined that, nobody actually sit in that office to give any consultation. And Though after our liberation since 1971, it is a small office. It was not developed properly. It was in an old building. It was not properly even painted. The lights were not enough. I mean, people didn't even know the copyright office existed. When I talked with, the associations for the films, for the musicians, they were like, oh, there's an office. Where is it located? So then I got to know that this is such a sector which is completely neglected, so much resourceful, yet, not taken care of. What I can give, what I can do for my country. And then I went forward. I used to sit, maybe 2 to 3 days a week. Then I started seeing people coming and asking me questions. Okay, I need to do this. What can be done? What are the solutions? They used to come and consult with me. So that's how I got to know the real problems within them, why they didn't speak for so long, what happened that there was not a solution. And then we again sat with the secretary, with the minister, to sort out, to find out, and, to make this new law. So then I think it happened. And at many times there were negotiations done. So the cases didn't go to the court, which is a good sign. But still, again, there has to have some cases reported. Otherwise, nobody will know, what is happening for the last 20 years. So I think in this perspective, I must add that the copyright sector is very different and it's vast. In terms of so many categories, I think there are a lot of small and specific issues. I think once that those can be changed, there can be a huge impact. And what was your second question? Sorry, I forgot.
My the other question was in addition to the prior question, that how do you think that your journey, basically what I meant is that how your journey can inspire other women in the IP sector, and how can they contribute in making remarkable changes as you have in the past?
Okay. Uh, Working in the media sector, I must say it's not easy. It was not easy for me either. When I was doing this, my WIPO courses online, there was this question that always there: how do you face the journalist when you see, the journalists come and attack you on their negative questions because you're working on the media? How do you face them? So I think I have been through that phases. I know how the journalists are and how they can, ask you negative questions, because we as women, we are very emotional, and we being women, they think, okay, it's about a woman. If you talk negative things, she will be down herself, she will be emotionally broken, she won't do the work again. But I think now in 2021, it's high time that, as I said, the women, we must break through all the obstacles that comes again our way, because what's within us, what's inside me, I know what it is and no one can take it away from me. And I believe in working. I'm a very workaholic person. I believe in making an impact. And when I see the impact, that's what satisfies me, you know? So I think more women must come and there must be unity, because we being women, we must help another women, of course. I mean, this is a must. We just cannot go on and make negative comments on a woman who is more successful than me, but we must embrace it. We must praise her. Only then the women can unite, and only then I think we can see another, when we see another women emerging, doing good in our profession, only then I think more women would be coming up. Like I drive myself very recently because I saw some women driving herself. So then I thought I can drive as well. So I think when another woman will be seeing me driving, she will join me. So I think this is how it is. And IP sector, I think we women, we always make a good results than men. I believe we always study more. So IP is such a sector where I think if women can give time, if the persistence level and the patience level is more, or she can develop, I think this sector would be a fantastic one. And I believe for women, like in the legal sector, IP is very new in Bangladesh, and IP, especially copyright, because trademark has been, it's a long time that I mean, the Bangladesh has started trademark registration and the policies and the procedures and the hearings. But in terms of copyright, it's very new. I would say more women to join me. I would say more women I want to see in innovation sector. And that is why I have my own organization, that is Women in IP Bangladesh. And as you know, there's Women in IP India, if I'm not wrong, there's Women in IP Africa, there's Women in IP in Europe. So I think all the women from the diversified fields who have their IP within themselves, I want to work with them. I want to work with the innovators. I want to work with the people who are very unique, because this is how, if we can nurture, we can, create a better impact in the society.
Well, that was quite an inspiration, and Walter, I'm really happy that we had this conversation about your journey, about the success and the failure stories as well. I mean, it's quite amazing and inspiring at the same time. So now, when let me just back up a little bit, and when we were talking about you being the first IP consultant and the way you explained that, how did that happen to you? So I was meaning to ask you this earlier. That was it a nervous moment for you? Like, what was more scary? Like asking the honorable minister that that this should happen, or the more nervous part was after you got it, because you had a lot of responsibilities to take on being the first person. So how did you manage that?
So I think the most toughest part for me was maintaining it. I think once I joined, once everything was going good, but since there's always group of people who are used to this convention of no compliance, no the convention of not paying any royalties, and the convention of not having any proper agreements. So when I wanted to create one, when I wanted the people to know about their rights, I think that is when everything started. And that is the most hardest part for me, it was because and majority of the people in the media sector, especially the producers, we can see that especially I saw that they are not that literate enough to understand. It's only because they had money and they invested for a film. So there are a lot of issues that came up and down, but I think maintaining it was the main problem. And no matter what comments people pass, and no matter how they see you, how they emotionally try to break you down, how the journalists are after you, I think the show must go on, the journey must go on. And with the motivation to reach and be focused on where I want to see myself, where I want to see the impact coming, I think that is what is more important. Not to give up, and never give up, and just continue moving. I think that is the main focus for me.
Well, thank you so much, Wolora. It was, it was amazing that you shared such great insights with us, and it was a very inspiring conversation, not only just for women in the legal space, but for every woman that is going to watch this interview. We really look forward to having a chat with you again. It was a pleasure having you. And next time, we'll be talking about some other trending topics in the international legal industry. Sadly, we have come to an end to this conversation, but before I let you go, would you like to give any advice? And you can, sum up the entire journey in a couple of sentences for our women legal leaders, especially.
Yes, I would like to say that we, being a woman, we must support another women in every aspect possibly we can, and also creating an impact in the society overall. It gives a positive feedback to us, to all the contributors involved. So I would say that, especially the families, please support. If you have your daughter, if you have your daughter-in-law, if you have your own children who are a girl, a woman, just be with them, just listen to them. If there are any barriers, talk to them, let them free, let them work, let them be their way they want to create. I think after that, everything will fall in place.
Thank you very much, Volora, yet again, for sharing your experience and knowledge with us. And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Volora, please like and share this video, and also subscribe to Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming from industry legal leaders. This is Bharti for LexTalk signing off. Take care. Bye bye.